Hello. So in previous videos, specifically the how to buy a home or a house, and in the mortgage payoff presentation, we talked about the right way to buy a house as far as financially, what instrument to use as far as a mortgage is concerned, and then we also talked about paying it off, right? Some tricks and tips to do that. One of the things that comes up often is we typically lean towards getting the 15-year mortgage. Okay. Now that has some ramifications because as you get a shorter term mortgage, your payment goes up because you're going to pay it off quicker. It's not what's typically sold, okay, in this country, because people are looking to pay less, okay? But paying less on a mortgage typically means paying more on interest, right? Because you're paying longer. So we actually created a calculator that lets you see the difference between a 30 and any other type of mortgage or a 15-year, and the difference in interest that you save. Because when you see these numbers, it really drives the point home, do I really want to pay that much in interest, which is money you're giving away versus using it for yourself for your future. So walk us through a calculator, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's look here at the mortgage comparison calculator, and what I'm doing here is I'm assuming, just to kind of in general, let's say you were to buy a $300,000 home. Let's say you're to put 10% down, and the loan amount would be $270,000. Okay, so you would put kind of the loan amount right here in that figure, $270,000, in that box, $270,000, and then you put in the interest rate for that shorter term loan. So you do the shorter term loan first. So if you're comparing a 15 versus a 30, you'd put, let's say right here as an example, we put 3%. And then you'd put in here the shorter term loan term. So if you were going with a 15-year, you could put 15-year here. However, if you wanted to do a 20-year, you could also do a different time frame there. Now, on the second loan, you would put in the long-term rate. So let's say you're comparing it to a 30-year mortgage. In this case, and a lot of times, the longer-term rate is higher than the shorter-term rate. So we put in 3.5% here, and then the longer-term mortgage is a comparison to a 30-year. So basically, we're comparing a $270,000 mortgage between a 15-year mortgage to a 30-year mortgage. All right, and as you can see, the interest rate savings is over $100,000 if you were to go with a 15-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage. You can see the total interest you paid in a 15-year mortgage is $65,623 versus on a 30-year mortgage you're going to pay $166,471. And then so you can see here, but the monthly payment is a little bit more expensive. So the monthly payment is $1,865 for the 15-year mortgage, but it's not twice as much. The 30-year mortgage would be $1,212.
50% more.
Yep, exactly. So, but you pay it off in twice the time or half the time,
right.
And you pay significantly less interest. You pay $100,000 in interest. We also provided an amortization schedule down here at the bottom. So if you look at the amortization schedule, this is interesting because let's say, for example, you decided to sell your home in year 5, let's say the beginning of year 5, you would have a principal balance of $209,000. But if you went with a 30-year mortgage route, you'd have a principal balance of $248,000. So you can see how quickly you start paying down the principal. It makes a big difference.
Right.
You can also see here in year 1, you're paying $7,900 in interest with a 15-year mortgage. On the 30-year mortgage, you're paying $9,300 in interest. And stated another way, you're paying $14,400 to principal in year 1 of a 15-year mortgage versus only paying $5,100 in principal in a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
So you can see how the amortization schedule is really cool because you can see how quickly you're making a difference in this mortgage. And so you can do all types of things. If you want to compare a 20-year to a 30-year, there's even 10-year mortgages out there. If you wanted to compare a 10-year mortgage, versus a 30-year mortgage, you can run those comparisons. But really, you're just filling in these gray areas, comparing a shorter-term mortgage versus a longer-term mortgage to help you know before you get into a house what you're going to be spending in interest, and what your payment will be approximately. But really, this calculator is to help you decide and help you to see, is a 15-year or a 30-year better, and which one would be better for me. So
yeah, the calculator is a great tool. And now understand, this doesn't include taxes or insurance.
Right.
Okay, so this is just a principal interest. But it drives the point home that the quicker you can pay off your mortgage, the quicker you start saving money. I mean, look at the interest rate savings alone. Okay, you end up saving about 37% of your initial loan by doing the shorter term mortgage.
That's right.
So you almost pay a ridiculous amount. You bought a house for $300. If you do a 30-year mortgage, you end up paying $400, almost $500,000 for it.
Well, think about that, and then think about over one's lifetime if you did that for 3 different houses.
Right.
You'd save yourself $300,000 plus the potential compounding on that money over time. That can really change the trajectory of your wealth over time.
That's right.
A big difference maker.
That's right. So important calculator to understand, especially since this is one of the biggest assets that we acquire over our lifetime. So play around with it. Hopefully it'll drive the point home that you can really save a lot of money if you do a shorter term mortgage, and then you can actually pinpoint what your payments are going to be and be specific to your financial plan. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.